So one of the things that I love most about storytelling through photography and through video is that as the creator, you can decide how much of that truth you want to skew. Some of my favorite films are the ones that are grounded in truth or reality to give us that foundation as a viewer, but then they have those one or two fantastical elements that let our brains kind of wander. I try my best to implement some of those elements in the videos and the things that I create, but it's definitely a learning process and I'm trying to get better at it with each piece of content that I create. I love stumbling across photographers who can tell a story well with a single shot. It's again, something that I'm working on and would love to get better at. And along those lines, one of my favorite styles of photography to shoot is float photography. There's just something that's so dreamlike about those shots, and they almost immediately tell a story just in first glance. When done right, they're captivating, they make you wonder both what's happening, what's going on there, how did they do it? All of those things are things that kind of bounce around in my brain when I see a well-done float photograph. So I wanted to walk you through the process of taking this photo, give you a little bit of a peek behind the scenes of setting up the shot, and then show you some of the things that I do in Photoshop to make the photo look convincing. So this is where we're shooting both the cold open and the photograph. This is the drum stool that Steven is balancing on. It's also a gajillion degrees outside, and he offered to put on his long sleeve, which I owe him a coffee, or a Slurpee. Are we doing coffee? Slurpee. I owe him a Slurpee after this. It's 8,000 degrees. So the trick with this is to wear a button-up shirt that you can unbutton, and you let it droop over the thing that you're balancing on or that your subject is balancing on. So in After Effects, we can create that mask and clip out that thing. I also shot what's called a plate, which is just a blank background of the setting. So then that way, when I clip and cut out that stool below him or beneath him, it has something to fall back to.
Oh gosh, it hurts.
So if you notice, the shirt is draped over the stool, so I can cut out the bottom chunk there. And in After Effects, there's no real easy way to do it. You just have to do it frame by frame. And it is a true labor of love, and that was an incredible up the short shot. So I'm gonna use this bar stool to prop myself up. I wanna make it look like I'm walking on the wall while Steven is sitting here and looking out at the world. But it's the same idea. I don't have a shirt to cover up the stool, so I'm going to scoot more towards the front of it so parts of my clothing will hang more off of it so it's easier to clip this out. So the first thing we do is we get the composition. I'm gonna set it up on the tripod, and I'm actually gonna grab focus on the bar stool and then set the lens to manual focus, so that way that is the primary focus for the entire shot. Once the photos are all imported onto your computer, open them up in Photoshop. Place them all in the same document with the plate as your background layer. Using the pen or the lasso tool, delete any of the objects that you use to prop up your subjects. If you have any hard edges as a result of erasing away the supports, use the blur tool to soften those cuts. I like to use a big round brush. When pasting people or things into the scene from other photos, use a large brush with soft edges to erase away those hard lines to give the composite a more realistic look. I always tend to push my photos into the cooler tones, but this is just a matter of personal preference. I opted for the square crop on this photo because I knew I was going to be using it for Instagram. And lastly, I paste a 35mm film grain on top of the entire photo with the blending mode set to overlay. So there it is, my take on float photography and ways that you can shift gravity when taking your photos. Hopefully you guys got something out of this. And if you guys enjoyed this style video, let me know in the comments below. I'll do more during August as I'm looking for content every single day. Thank you guys again, and see you tomorrow.